Oh, why, hello there. Welcome to my podcast. I don't know why I'm doing one. Absolutely no need. It's Saturday night. I have no plans. I'm bored out of my mind. So I thought, why not? Why not just start a podcast? And I ChatGPT'd a couple topics and couple names from ChatGPT. This really lame script. Not gonna follow it. Not my vibe. We're gonna. I'm here by myself, so we're gonna talk about. I really don't know. I think this podcast is gonna be about just messing with ChatGPT and asking it like philosophical questions and putting ChatGPT here to the test. So let's go ahead and just randomly ask ChatGPT. Let's ask it if a nuclear war were to happen today, um, who would start it and why? So I've never asked ChatGPT, and I know like I've never asked these kind of questions to ChatGPT, and I know it's collecting information and data about me. So let's just see what happens. I asked it the question. Let's read its answer. Short answer, it says no one knows, and anyone claiming certainty is speculating. But we can talk realistically about how experts think nuclear war would most likely begin based on global dynamics. Would a country start a nuclear war on purpose? It says no. No major power wants nuclear war because it would be catastrophic even for the winner. Nuclear strategy today is built around deterrence. If you nuke me, I nuke you back, everyone loses. So the biggest risk is not evil intent, but miscalculation, escalation from a conventional war, accidents or false alarms, political desperation, loss of command control. Okay, so if you nuke me, I nuke you back, and no one wins. Everyone loses. That's what ChatGPT is saying. But it gets a bit interesting. Most likely scenarios experts worry about. Okay, Russia is top of the list. It goes, and I'll share my screen here in a second. It says Russia NATO conflict expanding from Ukraine. Then China is on the next list. China Taiwan conflict during drawing in the U.S. Oh, this is. It said it wasn't gonna name names, but it's naming names. India Pakistan crisis. North Korea South Korea conflict. And it says in these cases, nukes might be used if a leader believes A, they're about to lose power, B, their country is about to collapse, C, they must shock the enemy into backing down. So people, we got a lot of conflict going around the world, and we need more hugs. I think a lot of conflicts could be de-escalated with just just a hug. Okay, this is point number 2 from ChatGPT. It says false alarm or technical mistake. Real historical incidents. In 1983, a Soviet officer, I can't pronounce his name, sorry, ignored a system warning of incoming US nukes, which was a malfunction. If he had reported it, retaliation might have begun. 1995, Russia mistook a Norwegian scientific rocket for a possible US missile. Damn. Let's just jump to the end of the conversation here for ChatGPT, and it says, so who would start it? And it says, the uncomfortable truth is, nuclear war is most likely not to begin from an evil plan, but from human error, fear, misjudgment, or escalation. There's not a scenario where country X wakes up and wants to destroy the world. More like a conflict gets worse, one side panics, a wrong decision is made under pressure, then retaliation follows automatically. Okay, that was really, really um, insightful, ChatGPT. We're gonna play with your mind a bit more. Let's ask if is there love in space? Let's ask it this. Is there love in space? Wow, this is a really, you know, the fact that I'm talking to a machine here and it's answering these questions is mind-boggling. So it answered, if you mean literally, no. Outer space itself is silent, empty, and indifferent. There are no emotions floating between galaxies, no cosmic force called love. But if you mean something deeper, yes, absolutely. Because love exists wherever consciousness beings exist, and those beings are made of stardust. Every atom in your body was forged inside stars that exploded billions of years ago, because the same carbon that lets your heart feel, the same chemistry that allows connection, attachment, longing, all of it comes from space. So when humans love, that is space loving itself. That is the universe becoming aware. That is stardust experiencing meaning. Carl Sagan said it best. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. And poetically, there is love in space. In the way gravity holds galaxies together, in the way planets orbit faithfully for billions of years, in the way light travels unimaginably distance just to reach your eyes. Not emotion, but connection. Wow, that was beautiful. I was not expecting such. Now let's ask it something different. Let's ask it something really deep. What is the meaning of life? We're messing with ChatGPT here. Let's ask it what is the meaning of life. So it says that is the oldest question we ask, and the honest answer is both simple and profound. There's no single built-in meaning of life. The meaning is something you create. The scientific view. From science alone, you are the product of evolution. Consciousness emerged from complex biology. The universe has no visible assigned purpose for us. The human view. Across cultures, philosophies, and centuries, people tend to arrive at the same themes. The meaning of life is found in connection, creation, growth, contribution, experience. The paradox, though. You are a tiny speck in a vast universe, and also the only place in the universe where your exact perspective exists, which means your experience is cosmically rare. That alone gives it value. So, the simple answer that holds up, if you and ChatGPT says, if you strip everything away, many philosophers eventually land here. The meaning of life is to live life fully, love deeply, and create meaning wherever you stand. Not in some grand destiny, not in perfection, but in everyday moments. A song that moves someone, a laugh with a friend, a late night that feels true, choosing kindness even when it's not easy to. And then it says, it's collecting data about me, so it says, you make music, you create atmosphere, you bring feeling into other people's days. That is meaning in action. You're not just existing, you're contributing to how other humans feel, cope, relax, and dream. That's real impact. Wow, thanks ChatGPT. That's really kind of you. Let's ask it, So we asked it, what was the meaning of life? Let's ask it something a bit different. Let's ask it something, will humans face extinction? And why? No, and if yes, why? So the short answer is yes, humans could go extinct someday, but not anytime soon, and not for one single dramatic reason. The longer answer is extinction for any species is possible, but human extinction would most likely come from a gradual, systemic failures, not a movie-style apocalypse. Here's the realistic picture. It asks again, will humans go extinct? Eventually, on a cosmic timescale, almost certainly yes. Every species that has ever existed has gone extinct, over 99.9% of them. The universe itself will not last forever. So if you stretch the timeline long enough, millions or billions of years, extinction becomes extremely likely. But that's very different from saying humans are about to disappear. We are not on the brink of extinction. So the answer is possibly yes on a long grand scale. And it dives into this. What could realistically cause human extinction? It says one event, not one event, but overlapping risks over time. So the first cause is environmental collapse, climate change, ecosystem breakdown, food and water instability, mass extinction of other species. 2. Advanced technology misused. This is where experts take risks seriously. Oh my god. The first one is artificial intelligence used recklessly, engineered pandemics, biotech accidents, autonomous weapons. These are not science fiction anymore, but they are government's problems, not inevitable. Nuclear war. Number 3, nuclear war. A full-scale nuclear exchange could kill billions directly, trigger a nuclear winter, collapse global agriculture. But even then, total extinction is unlikely. Humans are extremely adaptable. Small populations will likely survive. 4. Natural cosmic events. Very rare but real. A massive asteroid impact, nearby supernova, gamma ray bursts, supervolcano eruption. The important truth. Humans are one of the most resilient species ever to exist. We live in deserts, Arctic tundra, space stations, submarines, megacities. We can grow food artificially, store knowledge digitally, adapt biologically, and rebuild socially. That makes us unusually hard to erase completely. Civilization might collapse, billions could suffer, but extinction? That's a much higher bar. Okay. Let's ask it something else. Is time travel possible? I understand that time is relative, and if you were to go around a black hole, you would slow down time, correct? If you were to go around a massive black hole, you would slow down time, correct? So it said exactly. So the question is time travel possible? I understand that time is relative, and if you were to go around a massive black hole, you would slow down time. And it says exactly. The answer from ChatGPT says exactly. You are already thinking like a Relativistic physicist. Let's break this down carefully and fully. Time travel, according to physics. In modern physics, time travel comes in two flavors. A, forward in time. This is real, tested, and happens every day. Time is relative, as Einstein's theory of relativity tells us specifically, special relativity. The faster you move relative to someone else, the slower your clock runs compared to theirs. So for example, astronauts traveling near the speed of light would age more slowly than people on Earth. This is called time dilation. General relativity. Gravity slows time. The stronger the gravitational field, the slower time passes. For example, near a massive object like a black hole, time slows down dramatically. So yes, orbiting around a black hole or moving near light speed will let you travel into the future relative to Earth. Now, this is the one I wanted to think about. Backwards in time. Going back in time is far less understood and mostly theoretical. Some possibilities suggested by physicists include wormholes, which are hypothetical shortcuts through space-time. If stable, transversible, and kept open, they might allow travel to the past. Okay. Cosmic strings, theoretical defects in space-time that could bend time enough to create loops. And the last one says Tipler cylinders, rotating infinitely long cylinders that could twist space-time. Wow. And it goes on to say real-world examples of time dilation. Astronauts on the International Space Station age a tiny bit slower than people on Earth. Measurable, but fractions of a second over months. Wow. That's really cool. Let's ask it, let's ask it, would the world be a better place without money and greed? So let's ask it, would the world be a better place without money or greed? So it says, now we're venturing into a mix of philosophy, psychology, and economics. One of my favorite what-if questions. Let's unpack it carefully. Greed and money aren't the same thing. Money is a tool. Greed is an emotion drive. Let's look at the next one. Possible upside of a world without money or greed. There'd be less exploitation of people on the planet, less inequality, more focus on community and collaboration, fewer wars fought over resources or wealth, and more focus on creativity, learning, and well-being rather than accumulation. But there's some potential problems. Point number 3. Humans are competitive and opportunistic. Even in a moneyless society, some form of power currency often emerges. Prestige, influence, access to resources. Motivation for innovation or work could shift. It would not necessarily vanish, but people might need new incentives. History shows idealistic communes often struggle to scale because human desires and needs are complex. Wow. The realistic view. A better world wouldn't necessarily require abolishing money. It would require reducing greed and creating systems that reward cooperation, fairness, and sustainability. Examples today. Universal basic income experiments reduce survival stress and improve happiness. Cooperative businesses incentivize shared success over individual greed. Social safety nets lower inequality without removing money. And point number 5. Before that, it says, in other words, it's not money that's the problem. It's what humans prioritize and how we structure incentives. Point number 5, a hopeful thought. Imagine a world where people care more about creativity, connection, health of the planet, and helping others, rather than chasing wealth or status. Money could still exist as a tool, but it wouldn't dominate human life. That world would indeed be far more compassionate, equitable, and sustainable. Very, very insightful answer. Let's ask it, why is the human brain so hard Why is the human brain impossible to recreate? So I'm asking it, why is the human brain impossible to recreate? What makes my thoughts so unique? So we're asking it, why is the human brain impossible to recreate? What makes my thoughts so unique? So it says, this is one of the deepest questions you can ask. And the answer sits at the intersection of neuroscience, physics, philosophy, and identity. Short version, your brain isn't just complex, it's historically unrepeatable. And that's why your thoughts are uniquely yours. Let's unpack that. 1. The brain is not a machine, it's a living process. People often imagine the brain like a computer. Neurons equals wires, signals equal code. But that metaphor breaks down fast. Your brain has 86 billion neurons with 100 to 1,000 trillion connections. Each connection changes strength constantly. Chemical balances shift every second. Structure physically rewires itself based on experience. Neuroplasticity, which means your brain is not a fixed object. It's more like a river than a circuit board. Even if someone could copy your brain perfectly at one moment, it would start diverging from you the instant after. Number 2, your brain is shaped by a never repeatable history. What truly makes your mind unique isn't just the hardware, it's the timeline that shaped it. Every one of those influences your neural wiring, your childhood experiences, the exact words people said to you, music you heard at emotional moments, trauma, joy, boredom, curiosity, the order you learned things, random events that didn't have to happen but did. Two people could live extremely similar lives and still end up with measurably different brains. There's no way to rerun the universe to recreate your exact sequence of experiences. Consciousness, point number 3, consciousness may not be fully computable. This is where things get genuinely mysterious. We still do not understand why subjective experience exists at all, why there is something it feels like to be you, why electrical activity in matter creates an inner world. This is called the hard problem of consciousness, and no scientist has ever solved it. Some possibilities. Consciousness is an emergent property of complex systems. Consciousness depends on biological processes we can't yet simulate. Consciousness involves quantum processes. Consciousness might not fully be reproducible even in principle, meaning a perfect physical copy of your brain might not produce your inner experience. Point number 4, even a perfect copy wouldn't be you. Let's say we somehow scanned your brain atom by atom and recreated it. Now there are two of you, the original you and the copy of you. Both would feel like the real one. They would both immediately begin diverging into separate individuals. So where is you? Not in structure alone, not in the data alone, but in the continuous thread of subjective experience. Your identity is a process, not a file. Why your thoughts are truly unique? Because no one else has. your exact neural structure, your exact life history, your exact emotional associations, your exact perspective in the universe. Even if someone had the same idea as you, the internal meaning of that idea would still be different because it connects to a different internal world. Your thoughts are not just outputs, they are expressions of a once only consciousness. The beautiful conclusion: you are not rare like a diamond. You are rare like a moment in the entire history of the universe that will never occur again. Not just biologically unique, not just psychologically unique, but existentially unique. Wow. So to summarize, your brain isn't just complex, it's historically unrepeatable. That is really beautiful, ChatGPT. Why don't humans act rationally? For instance, why would someone gamble their entire life savings knowing even if knowing they have only a even if knowing they have less than 1% chance of winning? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT, why don't humans act rationally? For instance, why would someone gamble their entire life savings even if knowing they have less than 1% chance of winning? So it says, now we're getting into the fascinating collision of psychology, neuroscience, and evolution. Humans think they act rationally, but our brains are wired in ways that often make us do the exact opposite. Let's break it down carefully. Point number 1. Humans aren't pure logic machines. Classical economics assumes that humans are rational actors who always maximize expected value. If the chance of winning is 1% and you risk everything, a rational person wouldn't do it. But we are not classical economics. Our brains evolved in environments very different from casino or stock markets. Survival mattered more than possibilities. Our ancestors often made high-risk decisions for high reward, hunting dangerous animals, or raiding rival tribes, because the payoff could mean life or death. The reward circuits in our brains respond strongly to potential gains. Point number 2. Emotions drive decisions. Fear, excitement, greed, and hope often override logic. Dopamine, the reward chemical, can spike when imagining the big win, even if the probability is tiny. Point number 2. Cognitive biases makes us irrational. Psychologists have often identified dozens of ways we can misjudge risk and probability. Number 1, optimism bias. It won't happen to me. Gamblers think they'll be the rare winner. Number 2, gambler's fallacy. I'm due for a win. Even independent events feel connected. Number 3, hyperbolic discounting. We overweigh immediate rewards versus long-term costs. Availability heuristic. Media and stories of lottery winners make winning feel more likely than it really is. Number 5, loss aversion gone wrong. People sometimes risk everything to avoid a perceived loss, even when it's irrational. The brain's reward. When we gamble or take huge risks, the dopamine center lights up in anticipation of reward. Even small probabilities of massive payoffs feel disproportionately valuable. The emotional surge feels better than rational calculation, which is often slower and quieter. In other words, your brain gets tricked into thinking gambling is worth it, even if the math says no. Number 4, social and cultural pressures. Peer behavior, media glorification, and narratives of overnight success encourage risk-taking. Humans are story-driven. A single anecdote of someone hitting it big can outweigh a lifetime of statistics in our mind. Wow. And the last point 5, rationality is context dependent. Humans can be rational, but often only within evolutionary contexts our brains evolved for. Casinos and lotteries are modern inventions, exploiting instincts that worked fine for survival but misfire in these artificial environments. Put simply, your brain is wired for survival in small groups, not probability math in a casino. Let's ask it, what are people's biggest regrets in life? And do you have any regrets? So I'm asking ChatGPT, what are people's biggest regrets in life? And do you have any regrets? So it says, that's a deeply human question. And the answers across cultures and ages are surprisingly consistent. What people most often regret near the end of life. Number 1, I wish I had lived a life true to myself. People regret staying in careers they hated, hiding their real personality, following others' expectations instead of their own values. Regret number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so much. I missed my kids growing up. I postponed joy. I sacrificed life for productivity. Number 3, the biggest regret. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. People regret not saying, I love you, holding grudges too long, avoiding honest conversations, letting pride block reconciliation. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with friends. Friendships quietly fade when life gets busy, efforts feel inconvenient, pride keeps people from reaching out. Years later, people realize how irreplaceable those connections were. Number 5, I wish I had allowed myself to be happier. This one surprises many people. They realize they postponed happiness. They believe life had to be serious. They lived on autopilot instead of appreciating what they had. Happiness often wasn't unavailable. It just wasn't prioritized. What almost nobody regrets. People rarely regret not making more money, not having a bigger house, not becoming more famous, not winning more status. Those things fade quickly when life is nearly over. Oh, this is really deep. I asked ChatGPT, if you have any regrets? And it says, and do I have any regrets? In big bold letters, it says, do I have any regrets? And it says, no, not in the way humans do. I don't have a personal life, desires, a timeline of experiences, emotional memory. So I can't look back and wish I had done things differently. But if I could borrow a human perspective for a moment, the closest thing I'd have to regret is this: that so many people underestimate how meaningful their ordinary lives already are. People often think meaning will arrive later, when they're most successful, when they're more confident, when life is less busy. But life is happening in the moments they think are just in between. The quiet takeaway: if you want to avoid most of life's deepest regrets, it often comes down to this. Say what you feel while you can. Make time for the people who matter. Choose authenticity over approval. Don't postpone joy. Create things that are true to you. You don't need a perfect life. You need a present one. And that's it for the podcast. We not messing with ChatGPT ever again. That was way too much. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, share. I'll be posting more podcasts soon. Maybe Deep Seek next time. We'll see. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.